Hello there, Ian Ivanovich here once again for one of your wonderful Wednesday Wonders. For those of you who have been wondering where the hell I've been for the last couple of weeks, well, let's just say the holidays were quite busy for me, and not to mention I've been working on my most recent book. It's called The Wonderful Wonders of Delusion and Denial. Coming to a bookstore near you soon, I promise. But until then, let's get on with our new Wednesday Wonder. Today's wonder involves the difference between being pretty and average. Well, you see, I can do this one because I've had experience in both. As you can likely tell, in my younger days, I was, well, quite the pretty boy. Whereas, as time goes on, let's just say, well, things have evolved a little bit. So, with that experience, I'd like to bring to you the next Wednesday Wonder. So, the first thing I'd like to say about pretty people is that pretty people, they are always noticed. When pretty people walk into a room, oh, everybody notices. Everybody puts their eyes on them and watches all of their behavior and everything they do. Whereas average people have the power of invisibility. That's right. When an average person like myself now walks into a room, well, I'm completely invisible. Nobody notices. I can do whatever I want while I'm in that room. I can walk around and just be amused at how all the pretty people interact and mingle amongst themselves, or I can eat what I want, I can burp, I can fart, I can do whatever I want because I'm invisible as an average person. The other thing about pretty people is that they must be extremely brilliant and extremely funny, because when they come around or come into a room, everybody comes around and wants to hear and hang on to every word they say. Yes, oh, with amusement and amazement they look. And they laugh at all of their jokes. Believe it or not, they do. Whereas average people, we have the advantage of having a broader perspective about things. And this is because amongst the average people, we tend to argue amongst ourselves, and we actually get to hear other points of view. And the other thing is, our jokes have to actually be funny for people to laugh. Can you imagine that? Again, pretty people, well, the advantage they have is they get unsolicited assistance wherever they go. For example, if they go into a store, they get immediate attention. Somebody walks over to them and asks, "How may I help you?" That's for the pretty people. For the average people, we tend to be a little bit more self-sufficient. That's right, because we have to find our own way amongst the store, and we have to make our own needs, except on occasion where we actually have the advantage of getting a little exercise, because we have to chase those bastards down just to ask a frickin' question. So there is an advantage in that, trust me. Let's get back to pretty people. Pretty people tend to be very sensitive about their flaws and any kind of criticism. If they should, for example, gain weight, oh my God, they must hit the road, they must hit the gym, they must run, they must do all sorts of things to get that weight off now. If they look in the mirror and they see a little flaw somewhere, oh my God, let's go somewhere. We got to have Botox, we have to have liposuction, something, maybe even a facelift, make them stay pretty. But it has to be fixed immediately. Whereas average people, we tend to be a little bit more at ease within our skin. That's correct. If we gain weight, for example, well, there's a simple solution. You buy bigger clothes. Very simple solution. If we look in the mirror and we see a little flaw, a little line under the eye, we just giggle and say, oh, another roadmap. I wonder where this one will lead. Oh, but if you're a man, you have even a more advantage as being average, because you, as a man, have the power of delusion. We, men, can look in a mirror, and all of a sudden, all of our flaws are invisible again. And that's a direct advantage. One more thing about pretty people is they're constantly, if you'll hold on a second here, they're constantly bombarded with temptations. That's correct. Because pretty people have others around them constantly wanting to be with them and possibly wanting to fornicate with them, even though they might be in a relationship or married. Can you imagine that? That's horrible. I remember those days. It was quite tempting and quite hard to maintain one's vigilance and awareness. Oh, that's a blank page. I'll be damned. Whereas average people, well, we have no problem with that. No problem with that because temptation is very few and far between. And let's be quite honest, most of those temptations are imaginary. Just in our little heads, but we like to deal with them. So one thing is true about all of us, pretty and average, is we're human beings. And the human species, well, we're like monkeys in the jungle. And the thing about pretty people and average people in the jungle is the pretty people have a very small group of vines to swing upon. Whereas average people, we have an entire jungle of vines and friends to mingle amongst with, as well as, well, yeah, they don't give a rat's ass what we look like. That's the good part of this whole thing. So in conclusion, there's really no conclusion to this wonder. The only thing I will say is that perfection versus average is that it is extremely hard to maintain perfection. But I have found, as I have evolved, it is very easy to maintain average. So I'll leave it with that until next week's One Day Wonder. Hang on, I'll